what's out here. Ah, lost in the jungle. Oh crap, it's full of wasps. I have to do some spraying out here before I can get in here and do anything with this. Alright, we're back here looking at the Land Rover again. I chopped down some of the vegetation that was around it so I could get to it. And now I'm going to open the hood up for the first time in a long time. We're going to see what it looks like in here, and I hope that there aren't any critters inside. You'll get a big laugh if there is. No, it doesn't look bad. The hinge pins aren't in here for some reason. Let me deal with that. Looks more like stuff is just blown in here rather than something actually living in here. There's just a bunch of pine straw and stuff. I wish I had thought to cover up the throat of the carburetor before I walked away from this. I bet that battery is great. Alright, so I'm going to spend a little time pulling pine straw and wasp nest and stuff like that out of here. And then we'll proceed with this project. It occurred to me to fold back the hood so you could get a better view of what's actually going on here. It's not bad. We'll look and see if there are fluids in it and stuff like that, but first we'll clean it up. Can't get a handle on how long the car has been sitting out here. For a long time it sat out in our parking lot. So first thing I'm going to do is remove the spark plugs and put some oil in the cylinders, and then find out if it'll turn over, which I'm sure it will. It's been a very faithful old vehicle, but we'll check that out. Got the plugs out. They didn't look too bad. They were a little bit rusty, and the electrodes were a little black. I think it ran with too much choke the last time it ran. But I also took the battery out, put it on a charger in the garage. Hope springs eternal, not much chance it's going to be coming back. But right now I've got my jump box and some jumper wires and stuff, and I'm going to see if I can spin this thing up after I remember to take it out of gear. Okay, I got the jump box hooked up here to my boost box. The jump box hooked up to the battery cables, and I put a jumper on the solenoid, and when I energize the solenoid, it energizes, but nothing beyond that. So now I got to get in there and find out why I'm not getting any juice to my starter motor, or whatever the problem might be. Okay, I went and got a voltmeter, and I checked on the output side of the solenoid, and I'm not getting any voltage there, which is good. That just means I can put the solenoid's a cheapy Ford type firewall mounted solenoid, so I can put that in there. My first voltmeter I pulled out of my car failed me, so I went and got my good one. This is a Fluke 1587 FC. It does a little bit of everything. We use it in our hybrid work for doing insulation testing, looking for isolation faults and stuff. But this is really a beautiful piece of equipment. It does capacitance, temperature, just about everything, frequency. Really nice piece of equipment. So I guess the next thing to do is jump on that solenoid, or I could just jump 12 volts to that side of the solenoid. This, before I took it out of service, I put a really nice couple of $100 gear drive starter in here, so I'm hoping that that's still working the way it's supposed to. I went ahead and hooked my jump box directly up to the output side of the solenoid, and it's got a power switch on it so that I can just turn it on. I'm not going to try and kid you that you're seeing this for the first time. I just tried it. We turn it on here, and we have to push the button. Voila! That proves a couple of things, that my starter motor is working and that the engine turns over freely. And it also circulated that oil on the piston walls, the cylinder walls, and the pistons. So that's a good step. Okay, I got a new solenoid put in here. Mounting it was the hardest part, but I got it in here. And now, turn on the battery. There we go. Now we jump the solenoid. Put the plugs back in as well. That's why it's not spinning as freely as it did before. So now the next step is to put a little bit of gas in it and see if it sputs and sputters. Let me go get a gas can. Okay. Got my outboard gas tank hooked up with a electric fuel pump here going straight to the carburetor. I got it clip leaded over to the jumper battery. If all goes well, the pump will run and then quit, which means it's filled up the carburetor and it's not flooding the engine. So let's see what happens. Gas leaking. Okay, I'm going to put a clamp on my hose there. But basically it seemed like it did pressurize the float bowl. So that's a good sign. Let me putz around with a hose clamp here for a minute. Well, to make a long story short, I spun it up with the jump box and basically had nothing. I got gas flowing through the carburetor. If you look down in there, and you operate the throttle pump is pumping gas in there, but no spit, no sputter. Next thing I did was I put a spark plug tester, ignition tester on #1 spark plug, and no spark. Big surprise, you know. So then I started looking at the points, and I found out the points had about 500 k ohms resistance when they're closed, and that's not going to make a spark. So I pulled them out, and they really look like crud. And I'm not a big fan of points, so I'm going to order a Pertronics module for this thing and eliminate that as a problem for the future. And then we'll get back in here and see what's happening with it. So I will see you when the Pertronics arrives. Thanks for watching. Okay, it's the next day, and I've made a couple of changes. Last night, the solenoid that I had put in yesterday from blank auto parts failed on me. And so I went to other blank auto parts and got another one. It's just a standard Ford type bulkhead mount solenoid, but it's necessary.
The other thing I did is I've changed cameras. I've moved over to my Sony Handycam, and I'm hoping that it has a little bit better audio quality, and it also provides some additional capabilities. Here's the solenoid that quit on me. And I gotta say that I probably overworked that solenoid with all my testing and chattering of the solenoid using clip leads and stuff like that. So I'm not ready to condemn blank auto parts, but we'll see what happens from this point. I got to put the spark plugs back in. I went around and oiled some stuff, oiled hinges, oiled door latches, did some other stuff. I still have to chop this tree stump out from behind the car here that was growing up through the step on the bumper. I don't think I ought to drive over that, but things are coming along. While we're here, we'll just take a quick survey of the interior. That's a lot of the parts for the car that I bought some time ago. Brake master cylinder, stuff like that. So anyway, upholstery could use a little work. And moving up to the front door here, OMG. It's rough, but it's had a hard life. It was a farm vehicle and was used by little girls at the farm to haul manure, and they didn't know what they were doing. They would go down to the manure pile with the choke on and couldn't figure out why it was running so rough and everything, but they didn't do any real harm except for general degradation of the vehicle. So that's where we are right now. We're going to proceed as soon as it cools off. It's very hot out here. We're back on the phone here for a minute. I got some things sorted out. I still got to work on the electrical system, but I just wanted to. It only runs when the solenoid's engaged, because that's the only time it puts power on the ignition. I got to get in and figure out the basic primary wiring for this thing. Then, but it runs, and it sounds pretty good. So we'll be back.